line 790-2040, 790-2040. You can email questions at buckmastershow.com or submit them using the Buckmaster Show Facebook page. And we begin now with Sharon Bronson. Sharon is the Vice Chair of the Pima County Board of Supervisors. She is supervisor from District 3, and she is going to be announcing right now on the Buckmaster Show that she is officially going to be seeking a fifth four-year term. Sharon, how are you?
I'm fine, Bill. Thanks for the intro. And yes, I am officially seeking a fifth term. I am looking forward to running on my record. The taxes levied by Pima County today are at historical low levels. They are less than they were in the late 1970s on an inflation-adjusted basis, per capita basis. We are still providing essential funding for law enforcement and public infrastructure. Despite the $50 million in cost shifts or mandated payments or fund sweeps from the state legislature, our parks and libraries remain open. We are delivering on our bond promises. We have new libraries in Marana, in Flowing Wells. We've just completed that 30 miles of loop system of non-motorized trails that benefits the entire region. So I intend to run on my record, and am asking for the voters and my constituents to continue to support me.
And you will have competition, it looks like. Tanner Bell, former U of A football player. He's an academic advised counselor at the U of A Republican. He has formed an exploratory committee to seek election in your supervisorial district. And you have had competition in just about every race, haven't you?
I think of the four times I've had competition, every time, 3 of the 4 times, both primary and competition in the general. So I'm used to running and getting out and talking to voters. And I think it's healthy to have competition so you can have discussions, important policy discussions.
What do you think the issue will be between you and Mr. Bell?
You know, I'm looking forward to learning of Tanner's vision for District 3. I know that in other contested races, Rosemont seems to be an issue. To some extent, the Marana Sword plant, those seem to be issues. But at this point, I don't know what Mr. Bell's vision is for District 3, but I do want to welcome him to District 3. He just recently moved in. I'm certain he's going to find it as enjoyable a place to live as those of us who have been there for years. I myself have lived in the district for 30 years.
It's a huge district, isn't it?
It's 7,400 square miles, and I know he's going to enjoy meeting the residents of District 3, and I'd be happy to give him a tour if he'd like one.
You know, I have no idea what Tanner Bell's position is on Rosemont, but I know that some of the candidates shaping up in the supervisorial races, it's almost turning out to be kind of a referendum on Rosemont. And, of course, the Pima County Board of Supervisors on record against Rosemont. You think Rosemont eventually will be defeated, Sharon Bronson?
Well, Rosemont may very well not get the permits it needs, but that will not be the Board of Supervisors who issue those permits. They have the draft environmental impact statement that they put together has concern. There are a number of concerns from a number of federal agencies, the EPA, Bureau of Reclamation, the BLM, lots and lots of concerns. And, you know, I think that Tanner Bell and I are probably going to see eye to eye and that we think this is a property rights issue. I think it is, but you know, the land that they're going to mine on may be theirs, but everything else they're going to do, it's not their land. The U.S. Forest Service land isn't their property. The miles of road that they will drive their trucks on aren't their property. They're the taxpayers' property. The water table they're going to divert and contaminate isn't their property. It's the residents of Pima County. It's ours. The air they're going to foul with dust and other pollutants, again, isn't their property. It's ours. So, I mean, there are real concerns when it comes to the water table, water contamination, and air quality surrounding the mine. And again, Yes, they have a right to their private property, but we have property to the taxpayers and the residents of Pima County and the United States when it comes to those issues.
What about those jobs?
This is the 21st century, not the 20th century. Cotton, copper, and cattle, while important to our economy, are not going to be where the 21st century jobs are going to be generated. I mean, we are going to be generating those jobs in biotech, in aerospace and defense, in alternate energy. And that's where my focus is. As a member of the Chairman's Circle of TRIO, I've made, actually, in the almost 16 years I've been in office, I've made economic development a priority of mine. Because if we don't have economic development, we don't have quality of life, we don't have equity, we don't have infrastructure. And so, yes, economic development is my number one issue.
Sharon Bronson is with us. She officially declared her candidacy running for a fifth term here on the Buckmaster Show today. If you would like to join in the conversation, perhaps you don't agree with the supervisor, perhaps you agree with her or whatever. If you have a question for her, she will be delighted to answer take your questions or any comments at 790-2040, 790-2040. Of course, Rosemont is a big issue, but the big issue that seems to be emerging in everyone's neighborhood. You know what that is, Sharon Bronson. The roads. The roads are terrible. The potholes.
The potholes are terrible. I can definitely tell you that.
You have some bad ones in your neighborhood?
We have some in our area, that's for sure. And if we didn't have those HURF fund sweeps, we'd be fixing those potholes. But as you know, Bill, on the agenda for Tuesday, we are going to be discussing that issue, and we think that, again, despite the HURF fund sweeps, we will be finding some money to start addressing those pothole issues in unincorporated Pima County. Our roads are deteriorating. We really do need to get those funds back. But again, in the meantime, we've got to address the issue. And I think we have several recommendations that the board as a whole will be supporting on Tuesday.
Yeah, Mr. Huckleberry was with us last week. He shared those recommendations shortly after he had given you and your colleagues a list of 16, and he's given you basically 16 items, kind of a laundry list to choose from. I have no idea which ones will finally play out, but I think it's safe to say something will get done.
Something will get done, and from my perspective, I mean, several of of his recommendations involved raising taxes. I certainly am not going to be supporting that, not in this economic climate.
Okay, we have James ready to go on the Buckmaster Show. James is on the Buckmaster Show live line. James, you're with Sharon Bronson. Go ahead.
Yes, afternoon. The term being saying swept, the state legislature swept the road fund. But isn't it not true the county still gets several $1 million, like $40 to $50 million for road repair?
No. It's not true. We are not getting money at that level. We lost, I think, almost $7 million this year. We get for. We are getting some money with the half-cent sales tax with the RTA, but that's for capital projects. That's for building roads, not for maintaining roads. And we are at historically low levels. The gas taxes that you and I pay at the pump that should come back to this community are not. They are going to balance the state budget. We are getting considerably less than we have been in past years. And, in the final analysis, and I appreciate your comment, in the final analysis, those are our dollars. They belong down here. We're doing the best we can with the few dollars we have for road maintenance. But, the state legislature needs to give us back those dollars. If this were private sector and somebody took that kind of money, I think it would be considered a felony. But because the state legislators are doing it, it's perfectly legal. It wouldn't be for you and I if we were taking someone else's money.
Thank you, James. James with us on the Buckmaster Show. We're talking about road repair. We're talking about Rosemont. We're talking about an election year with Sharon Bronson, and getting back to the meeting that is coming up Tuesday. And this is a very important meeting. Mr. Huckleberry had summarized 16 different ways that the county could find funding in the budget, including, as you say, Sharon Bronson, one of the proposals, increasing property or sales tax. You say you would not want to go along with that. Borrowing from impact fee accounts that now have some cash in them, and pursuing Tucson City Councilman Steve Kosachek's suggestion that voters be asked to reallocate RTA funds. That's something that Mr. Huckleberry says he does not want to do.
I think that's a difficult one. I'm not sure we legally can do it without, again, enabling legislation at the state legislature. And by the time you get that, it's too late. So we need to move on some of the other items. I think the impact fee issue is one that's doable. We can borrow because nobody's out there building right now. We can, and then repay it as this economy improves. I think that has the least impact to taxpayers and the biggest bang in terms of getting those potholes fixed. What is disconcerting to me is that, again, our state legislators do not seem to have our best interest at heart. And as you know, an audit bill was recently signed by the government to audit the Pima County bonds.
Why don't you hold that thought? We'll get to the audit after we take a break, Sharon Bronson. We'll take a break right here on the Buckmaster Show, and that bill that Sharon Bronson was talking about to call for the Auditor General to audit the Pima County bond situation, that was signed into law by the governor. We'll hear what the Pima County Supervisors are going to do about that when we continue with the Thursday edition of the Buckmaster Show.